Hello everyone. Today I want to briefly go over the requirements and expectations of the outline again. I am in the process of grading everyone's outline. Some of you have done an excellent job, but some of you definitely need some improvement areas. I have provided specific feedback on the ones that I have graded, and I still have a few left to grade, but I am slowly working through those. But what I usually like to do is give everybody individual feedback and then also give feedback as a whole, just different trends that I see, and just a few common things that people are missing. What I have also done is I have posted a sample outline under the content section. If you go to content and then resources, you will see it says a sample outline of what is expected. Some of you were just incredibly vague and not very detailed in the outline. I did explain that pretty thoroughly whenever I first introduced the assignment and how the outlines would go. But since there were a few people that are still struggling with that, I just want to revisit it. So the first thing that I want to mention is whenever you talk about your general purpose or your specific purpose, there were a few things that, or a few people that was just super broad, and it was just a very generic statement. Generic, whereas it could be anyone's outline topic or anyone's general or specific purpose. Whenever you fill out these sections, the goal is to make sure that it is customized to you specifically. For example, if you just say, I am going to provide some interesting information about myself. Or if you say to introduce myself to my classmates and my professor, that is very generalized. That is a very vague response. That has nothing to do with your specific speech, with your specific topic. Whenever you do your introduction speech, even though you're telling the class about you, that's, if you say something just very generalized like that, that could be applied to everyone. Think about the things that you are talking about as an individual. Are you talking about your favorite food or your hobbies? If you play sports, if you do yoga, whatever those things are, you need to customize each section to your specific speech. So instead of just saying to share with the audience more about myself, I already know that. Please tell me something that I don't know. I already know that you are going to introduce and share information about yourself because I'm giving you the assignment to share more information about yourself. So please try to be more specific and narrow it down. This, of course, is a communication class, so the goal is to communicate. The more details that you can provide, the better. Hopefully, seeing the example of there is actually an outline that a student has submitted to me for another semester, but I removed the name so that you can't, it's just to keep that information confidential. But this student did a really great job on all sections of the outline. They had the sources, they had the subpoints, and so I just wanted to use that kind of as a guide. But please make sure that it is not generalized. It needs to be customized to you specifically and your topic specifically. Credibility statement. I noticed that a few people had different variations of this, such as, I experienced this, I was there. Or I had a student one semester do a demonstration speech on brushing their teeth, but their credibility statement was, I have teeth, so I am credible to talk about this. I already know you have teeth. I already know that you were there because you were sharing this experience. So instead of being generalized, think about it as if you, for example, played soccer. Being credible isn't, I was there, I showed up for the soccer game. Please add more details. For example, I was a star soccer player for 7 years. I have experience playing all of the positions in soccer. I primarily am goalie, or primarily am forward, or I've played 25 soccer games. Whatever it is, I've had soccer practice every Tuesday and every Thursday for the past 15 years. So whatever it is, please add more details to show why you are credible. Because if you just keep it simple, then that doesn't actually establish and build that trust with the audience. The goal is for the audience to be able to trust you and what you are saying, and you be credible and reliable as a source. And if you don't share those details, then the audience really has no way of knowing. So keep that in mind. For the thesis statement, one of the comments that I saw for the thesis statement was, I'll be talking about some of the things that has impacted my life greatly. Okay, again, that is way too broad. Think about, how has this impacted your life? Anything could be impactful, but is it a good impact? Was it bad? Was it an exciting moment? Please add more details. For the main points, I noticed a few of you either only put 1 or 2 word answers. And if you actually look at the outline template that I provided, you will see instructions in the parentheses of telling you exactly what to do. For example, all of the main points need to have a title. They need to have a specific topic. What are you talking about for that specific main point? The main point should have a title, and it could just be 1 or 2 sentences. And then beside the main point, you also need to cite a source. If you are talking about how your favorite food is sushi, then you could cite a source about sushi. Find a way to tie it into your actual presentation. There were a few people who did not cite any sources whatsoever. You have to cite at least 3 sources for all of your presentations. So you would lose significant point loss if you did not have a title, if you did not have a source to cite for each of the main points. You can cite more, but you have to have at least 3 sources. For each of the subpoints, you have to have at least 2 subpoints for each main point. There were a couple people who only put 1 subpoint under the main point. And I'm not really sure why, but some people deleted the second subpoint. You still have to do 2 subpoints at least. The assignment is not negotiable. You don't get to choose what you put in and what you don't. Each section has to have something, and you fill in the blank. All of the sections are important, and all of the sections are required. There were several people that only put 1 subpoint. So please, for future reference, go back and you can put 2 subpoints at least. You can do more, but you have to have at least 2. Each subpoint should have several sentences detailing your response. You can't just put, I'm going to talk about cooking, or talk about curly hair. It has to be detailed, it has to be specific, and it needs to be customized to you. There was also a person that, I think actually 1 or 2 people did this, but they wrote the outline as if it was past tense. For this section, this is what I did. The outline should be submitted as a professional document. Think about it as if you were writing a paper and you just eliminated the sections, like the headings that I have. Think about how much content is in your paper. Would that look like sufficient information? You have to have the details, and you also have to write the outline as a professional document, and it should not be past tense. The goal of the outline is to write the outline before you give your speech so it can be used as a guide. Excuse me. I'm still recovering from the flu. Definitely better than I was, but not 100% yet. I still have this horrible cough. But So one thing that I noticed that a few people did also was they just kind of paraphrased. Like, this is where I'm going to talk about when I play baseball. This is going to talk about how I love to cook or love to bake. Each section should, again, have several sentences to a full paragraph. At least write a few sentences. And then if you write a source for that section, you can put a source for the main point, or you can do it for the subpoints. So there has to be at least 2 sources. But if you put a source, copying and pasting the website is not enough information. You actually have to go to the article and find sentences that support specifically what you are talking about. And then you could just put 1 or 2 sentences in quotations from the source. Please cite it in MLA format. And then also, after you put the in-text citation, you should have at least 3 or 4 sentences or a full paragraph supporting the information from the source. And some of you did not do that. Excuse me. Hopefully this cough goes away soon. Having the flu has not been fun. One of the examples on the outline, just for the subpoint, all it said was show my artwork. Okay, that's a good starting point, but that's not enough information. What type of artwork? Is it going to be watercolor? Do you do pottery? Is it scrapbooking? Do you do quilting? Some sort of stitch and needlework? Artwork is so broad. And even just writing, show my artwork, that is not a full and complete sentence. Please make sure that each section has full sentences and go into detail to make sure that if someone is reading it, they know exactly what you are going to talk about. A few of the topics or titles, one thing that I noticed, it was also very broad, very vague, and it said all about me or getting to know me better. The titles and the topics were very similar. Please be creative with this. Again, that is broad. It needs to be customized to you specifically about the things you are going to talk about. It should not be a generic statement that anybody could use regardless of what they were going to talk about. So make sure that they apply to you as the individual and what your speech is going to be about. One example that I saw on the topic importance was, it is important to get to know me, and it's important that my professor and classmates get to know me. Again, way too broad. What are we getting to know about you? So, topic importance and audience importance. Whenever it is something that you are saying about you, it's not just important to get to know you. I gave you the assignment to do the introduction speech. So I already know that we're going to get to know you, and the purpose of the assignment is to get to know you, right? What I want to see from you is, for example, if you know how to crochet, then if you are going to mention that in your speech, the topic importance would be, this would be beneficial for anyone who has ever considered crocheting or learning how to crochet. Or if you live in Knoxville, the topic importance would be beneficial to your audience if someone has ever considered living in Knoxville. Or even if someone already lives in Knoxville, maybe you want to share some of your favorite restaurants, some of your favorite hidden gems, things to do in Knoxville that could be beneficial to the audience. So again, please try to be more specific and provide more details. Another thing that I wanted to highlight is, I saw a couple people on the attention material and final thought, you just had a statement that was maybe a good sentence to incorporate in your speech, but it did not qualify as a final thought or as a final memorable thought or attention material. If you go back to the outline example that I provided on the template, it will have specific details and instructions about what that should be in parentheses outside of that category. For example, an attention material, you could ask a question, you could have a video clip, or you could have a song, you could sing, you could have some sort of prop, something to show your audience. It needs to be something exciting and exhilarating that is going to catch your audience off guard. Just a simple statement does not qualify. Same thing with the final thought. It needs to be something exciting to catch your audience off guard and to just wow the audience. So think about that. There were also a few people that removed the recap section. I just want to reemphasize the summary statement, the recap section, and a final thought at the end. All of those things are required. Each section that is on the outline has a purpose, and there were some people that just removed the recap. I'm not sure why people wanted to just remove things. Like, all of these things and all of these sections are required on the outline. They are there for a purpose. If for some reason you don't know how to do it or you don't fully understand a section, by all means, please, I am more than available and more than willing to help you and answer any questions that you have. Don't just skip over it if you don't know how. Don't be afraid to speak up and ask questions. I am here and available if you have any questions whatsoever, and I'm more than happy to work with you on a one-on-one basis. We can schedule a Zoom session, or we could do a phone call, FaceTime, whatever you're comfortable with is totally fine. Just please don't remove sections. But the summary statement is similar to the thesis statement, but just reworded a little bit different. And then the recap, you actually do, at the beginning, you have the internal preview, which you introduce the 3 main points, and then the recap is a recap of the main points. So what you want to do is, and I have already mentioned this, I just want to kind of mention it again since there were a few people that had some areas of improvement. But the internal preview and how you mention it, and then also at the recap, you want to mention the 3 main points, but just kind of reword them. Today we talked about my love for soccer, my love for sushi, and how I have curly hair. So, or, switch it up, put your own spin on it, incorporate your personality. But all sections have to be included. And it needs to be presented as a professional document. Just kind of look at if you look at the sample that I posted, I think that will kind of help put it into more perspective, I hope. But a lot of you were missing some details, and it wasn't even the same section. It's just the people that needed improvements, it may have just been different things. I always try to look at that and take that into consideration to make sure that I explain things well. Excuse me. Because, if every single person misses something, then I want to take that into consideration and think that maybe I didn't explain it well. But some people got things correct and did a really awesome job of it, whereas others not so much. But it was all different areas. It wasn't necessarily the same thing. So, but you do have individual feedback. And if you have any questions after looking at the sample, please do not hesitate to reach out to me, and I'm more than happy to work with you. So hopefully the next outline goes a little bit smoother for those of you that struggled with it. And again, if you have any questions, please just email me or send me a text message, and I'll be more than happy to work with you. All right. I hope everybody has a great day, and let me know if you have any questions.